What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 news and updates, and of course it's Thursday, so Bungie posts their weekly blog. And as always, there are a handful of topics to talk about today, so we'll round up all of the new information, plus they give confirmation about future updates, changes they have planned, and a handful of other things which we'll talk about in the video. So I hope you guys find this one useful, and if you do, drop us a rating down below. But otherwise, now let's get into it. And a quick update here regarding the 1000 voices, which of course is getting the heavy ammo regen bonus that is only meant to be applied to swords this week. So if you haven't tried it yet, obviously it's pretty strong, being able to pretty much continuously use the weapon. Bungie had previously said that they may limit 1000 voices in Gambit, but outside of that, they plan to leave it alone until the buff goes away next Tuesday. However, they have offered an update and they said we are not planning to disable 1000 voices in Gambit, so enjoy the chaos through till Tuesday's reset. So this is the heavy ammo laser tag, I guess, somewhat reminiscent of when Prometheus Lens went wild back in Curse of Osiris. And so let us know any wild stuff that you've been doing with 1000 voices, or indeed any of the heavy ammo swords affected by this buff as well. Next up though, we get onto the TWID, and Bungie finally talk about the 10th anniversary for Destiny 2. So they say next Monday will be September 9th, and that's the 10th anniversary of the franchise. And while we could drop a 200 or 20,000 word TWID, to OP in the last 10 years, we're planning to keep our anniversary fun and light. So for details, they say we'll have a small in-game celebration for you all next week, along with some beautiful art that the team has made throughout the years, and there'll be some legendary armor freebies, a fun title to earn, as well as some Bungie rewards and more. But if we check back next Monday at 8 AM Pacific, there'll be blog coverage about it. So they'll go into a bit more detail next week, but they say at the same time next week, we're also planning to start our journey into Destiny 2, codenamed Frontiers, and at 8 AM Pacific, we'll be releasing a short Dev Insight blog article discussing our goals for the future of the game. And Destiny 2 game director Tyson Green and the narrative director Alison Lurs will be guiding the conversation, where we've been, where we are now, and where we want to go. Most importantly, they'll speak about how we're going to get there, and we want to be clear about our commitment to ongoing communication with the players. This marks the beginning of regular updates from the development team about what's next for Destiny 2, including details about its systems and future plans. And while the updates may be a bit rough around the edges as they're in early development, we are excited about sharing our goals and progress. So that's a big positive in itself. On top of the 10th anniversary kicking off, Bungie are going to use that as a sort of opportunity to open up the conversation about the future of the game. And I guess this is kind of the communication that we've been wanting from Bungie, or at least it sounds like it will be. They do point out this will only be the start of the conversation. The main goal is to provide bite-sized, direct, to-the-point articles over the next few months, rather than mega blogs where it's too easy to get mired in the details. And they finish by saying the light and dark saga may have ended, but the future of Destiny is still unfolding before us. The universe is big, bright, and full of wonder, and we're looking forward to exploring it, and hope you'll join us Starside as we approach new frontiers. So a slight tease to maybe moving out of the solar system once again right there. And overall, I would say a net positive in the fact that Bungie plan to communicate more regularly. We'll get those first communications next week, alongside information about the 10th anniversary. So it sounds good, but we'll see how it pans out, and give us your thoughts below. Next though, they speak about raids and dungeons. And they say we've heard feedback about how frustrating it can be to earn some of the rewards when a raid or dungeon isn't featured in the weekly rotation, and that's the reason why we're making some changes when episode Revenant launches on October 8th. So at that time, Warlord's Ruin will enter the rotator queue, and there'll be 8 raids and 8 dungeons in total, so it's fitting that we would double the number of featured rotator activities available every week. And this way, the maximum time that can pass between a specific raid or dungeon being featured will be 4 weeks, so that is an improvement for sure. And they say on the week of October 8th, for example, raids will have Last Wish and Vow of the Disciple featured, while for the dungeons we'll see Shattered Throne and Duality. So 2 of each featured at a given time, and they say the rotation will still be based on the release order, so after Last Wish and Vow of Disciple, Garden of Salvation and King's Fall will follow, and after Shattered Throne and Pit of Heresy, they say we can fill the gaps ourselves. So what's that going to be, Prophecy and Grasp of Avarice? Maybe? Testing my knowledge there, let us know in the comments section. But that's another change coming up in October, and overall I think it's a positive. Next up though, they speak about Choir of One and the inventory bugs that they're looking into at the moment. And they say sometimes we can actually bypass the cap of the inventory because we're in a rare race condition with the perks that is supposed to cap how much ammo we have, but with reserve mods we can spawn more ammo with the perk cap to limit, and it doesn't always catch it and remove the bonus ammo, so that's one of the ammo bugs. And they also say it wasn't supposed to get the inventory buff that other special weapons got in a recent patch, as that increase was already implemented in the weapon by design. So those are two of the ammo issues with the weapon. But they say in terms of changes, they don't want to make the weapon irrelevant in endgame activities, so they're adjusting ammo to around 200 base and 300 with reserves, which is down from 250 and around 375 with reserves. And then as for the extra damage with Divinity, on closer inspection, it was discovered that the actual issue is with the point blank variant of the projectile. The impact damage, which is done if the projectile is not split before it hits a target, is being affected by an extraneous damage scaler and dealing approximately 250% more damage than it should be. And of course that is inside of the Divinity cage, but again, it's another component that will be fixed with Revenant. And I know players don't want to see those changes, it's certainly a shame when we get a new exotic. Of course, they won't be happening for around about a month yet, but give us your thoughts below. Otherwise, they remind players that the name change update dropped this week, and that players now have an additional name change token. And otherwise, there are some fixes coming in an update next week that includes ones for Encore, where it isn't appearing as an option in Fireteam Finder, and also an issue where progression could be blocked in the final boss encounter if a player had to repeat either the left or right capture rink. Plus, they fixed an issue where depositing a connection module too early during a certain section of the mission could trigger a team wipe. So those are some of the annoying bugs with Encore, and otherwise for the Grandmaster Nightfall node, they do point out on August 27th, the node catch-up was actually activated, but due to an issue, players who'd completed the Grandmaster version of the 6 previously featured Nightfalls were unable to properly access it, and they have a planned fix for that coming with the update next week as well. So if you're looking to get all of the GMs cleared, that should make life easier, and those are really the main bits from the TWID this week. But as always, the article will be linked in the description box. A final thing to mention right here, but in the past few days, there have been a handful of rumors about a future Destiny 2 mobile game, or should I say a Destiny franchise mobile game. And Destiny Bulletin have just posted Destiny Rising is real, with apparently hero characters with NetEase leading development, according to insiders. So another insider has corroborated the rumored Destiny mobile game with a potential announcement soon. And the article says, adding credibility to these rumors, Giant Bomb's Jeff Grubb recently weighed in, confirming that Destiny Rising is indeed real, and they've shed some light on what players can expect. And in the latest comments, Grubb confirmed the existence of the game, with NetEase heavily involved in the project. So Jeff Grubb on Twitter said, Destiny Rising is real, not a lot of people from Bungie are actually working on it, and it may potentially be announced soon. Following that, folks asked about the genre and gameplay for it, and he said that it could be very different from Destiny 2, with hero characters instead of creating our own custom character players. And he added it's going to be Destiny on mobile, but with a lot of changes. Hero characters instead of building your own character, for example. There's been a lot of mixed feedback about this in the community, especially given sentiment around the game at the moment. A lot of people would argue that Bungie should be putting these resources straight into Destiny 2, as opposed to into other things, or indeed a Destiny 3. We do, however, know that the partnership with NetEase originally started a few years back with a significant investment into Bungie, so this is probably something that's been in the works for a little while. And given that it appears to be largely developed by NetEase and not Bungie, potentially that means it isn't necessarily taking that many resources away from the main game. As for whether any of us as Destiny players will really be interested in investing a lot of time into this, we'll just have to wait and see what the game might be. But if Bungie were to produce a popular mobile game, it could actually be a net positive for Destiny overall. As obviously if they're making more revenue, but also engaging different types of players that perhaps haven't engaged with Destiny directly on its existing platforms. The one potential positive is that it could serve to actually create more resources for the franchise overall, and also bring in more players. And obviously if there's money to make, then Bungie are going to spend more time making new content for Destiny 2. So it's kind of a difficult one. I definitely get that it doesn't seem like the most important thing that Bungie should be doing right now for the franchise overall. But in the wider scheme of things, it's hard to say before the game actually releases the potential impacts that it could have on Destiny 2. So again, give us your thoughts below. Keep in mind, Bungie haven't confirmed this, so it hasn't officially been announced yet. But it's safe to say I'm certainly curious to see what that could look like. Personally, I don't play many mobile games whatsoever at the moment, but again, give us your thoughts on it down below. And for today, that is what we have to speak about. So as always, I hope you found the video useful, and if you have, get subscribed if you want to be kept up to date with more Destiny content. Let us know your thoughts on what Bungie have spoken about in the TWAB today as well. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.